Okay, business leaders, are you here to play or are you playing to win? If you're in it to win, meet your next MVP. NetSuite by Oracle. NetSuite is your full business management system in one convenient suite. With NetSuite, you're running your accounting, your finance, your HR, your e-commerce, and more, all from your online dashboard. Upgrade your playbook and make the switch to NetSuite, the #1 cloud ERP.
Get the CFO's Guide to AI and Machine Learning at netsuite.com/tech. netsuite.com/tech.
It's Saturday the 11th of January. I'm Ciara Revens, and this was a week that saw Elon Musk spark a huge political row. Donald Trump confirmed as the next US president, wildfires sweep across California, and delight for Colin Farrell and Demi Moore at the Golden Globes.
Grab a cup of something hot, put up your feet, and get up to speed on the 7 biggest stories of the week. This is the Standout 7 from the Smart 7.
It's news,
but not the news.
As someone who's running 6 companies and appears to be busy working part-time as Donald Trump's unofficial vice president, you would think Elon Musk will be pretty busy. But he spent the whole of last weekend tweeting increasingly inflammatory remarks about British politics, including urging the government to free Tommy Robinson and making accusations about safeguarding Minister Jess Phillips and Prime Minister Keir Starmer. It all appears to stem from Musk's lack of understanding around historical cases of grooming gangs in the Midlands. But Reform Party leader Nigel Farage was busy supporting Elon's right to free speech on Sunday.
I believe in free speech, even if what people say is offensive. If you find it offensive, if most people find it offensive, would I rather live in a world where we're free to cause offence than a world in which free speech and debate get shut down? I know which of those two I prefer.
Things took a turn when Elon turned on Nigel, tweeting that he didn't have what it takes to lead the Reform Party. They're due to catch up in a couple of weeks at Donald Trump's inauguration, but it sounds like the promised massive donation to the Reform Party might be on hold for now. Former Labour Home Secretary Alan Johnson says the whole affair is nonsensical.
Why is the Leader of the Opposition calling for a public inquiry when she was in Cabinet when they made 20 recommendations, none of which have been acted upon? It's a bizarre, strange world. And I would think what Musk is proving is that having lots of money doesn't make you more intelligent about world affairs. It's a strange situation.
Elon's continued attempts to interfere in British politics came unstuck on Monday. European leaders, including France's President Macron and Norwegian PM Jonas Gahr Store, criticised the world's richest man for intervening in European democratic processes. Musk, who has pinned a poll to the top of his X feed asking if America should free Britain of its tyrannical government, faced a roasting from UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer.
Those that are spreading lies and misinformation as far and as wide as possible. They're not interested in victims. They're interested in themselves.
He also criticised Tory politicians for jumping on the bandwagon as lies and misinformation were spread, and pointed out that 2 Tory Home Secretaries failed to act on the recommendations of the 2022 National Inquiry into Child Sex Abuse. Lib Dem leader Ed Davey had also had enough and was suggesting action needs to be taken, particularly as Elon is about to start a new US government job.
Anyone who wants to serve in a foreign government should be very careful. And when it comes to these comments, I think the government should call in the US ambassador.
Tuesday saw more reaction to Elon Musk's deliberately provocative tweet storm, which included calling safeguarding Minister Jess Phillips a rape genocide apologist, sparking a furious reaction from the government. Phillips says Musk has put her safety at risk and also criticised Tory politicians who've been keen to jump on Musk's bandwagon. One of those politicians is Shadow Justice Secretary Robert Jenrick, who described Pakistani men as from an alien culture. He was called out on those remarks and his own failure to take any action or make any statement in Parliament on grooming gangs while in power by Radio 4's Nick Robinson.
I wrote about this and I was criticised for it.
Yes, I've checked Hansard today and it's not a perfect test. When you put in the name Robert Jenrick, grooming, no mention. Oldham,
I wrote
no
about
mention.
This, Nick, last year,
Rochdale, no mention. Child sexual abuse, no mention, Mr Jenrick.
The calls for a new national inquiry from the Tories and Elon's pals ignore the fact that there was a comprehensive inquiry in 2022 which produced a number of recommendations which the then Tory government ignored. Professor Alexis Jay chaired the inquiry and says it's time time for the report to be acted upon.
The time has passed for more inquiries. We've had enough of inquiries, consultations and discussions, and especially for those victims and survivors, and they clearly want action.
In Parliament on Wednesday, Education Secretary Bridget Phillipson was introducing the Children's Wellbeing in Schools Bill.
I want high and rising standards for every child in every school. That is one of the surest ways we can break the link between background and success. Life should not come down to luck.
The Tories attempted to insert an amendment into the bill to force an inquiry, which would also have killed the bill, but Labour backbenchers rallied to defeat the motion. Prime Minister Keir Starmer was scathing about Tory attempts to rewrite history.
Whatever anyone's view on whether a further inquiry is needed, what I find shocking is that anyone in this House would vote down the Children's Wellbeing Bill this afternoon, which is vital protections for the most vulnerable in our society.
Monday, January 6th, saw the election of Donald Trump certified by Congress and the Senate. It was quite different to the same date in 2021, which saw Trump supporters storming the Capitol building. Despite a wafer-thin majority, the new Republican Congress managed to confirm Mike Johnson as Speaker, despite a first round of votes which saw 3 Republicans take a stand against him. After an intervention from Trump, things got back on track, and Johnson says he and the boss have big plans once the inauguration is out of the way.
We're going to incentivize American companies to manufacture in the U.S. again. And we're going to make sure that the regulatory burden and the red tape that has smothered our free market is reduced and eliminated.
Donald Trump takes over the White House on the 20th of January, so time is running out for current President Joe Biden. He's been busy granting pardons, sending more military aid to Ukraine, and at the weekend awarding a set of Presidential Medals of Freedom. That's the highest civilian honour available in the United States, and Biden handed out 19 on Saturday. Honorees included Anna Wintour, Global Kitchen Chef Jose Andres, Denzel Washington, Michael J. Fox and Magic Johnson. There were some pointed political honorees too, including Hillary Clinton and George Soros. U2 frontman Bono was also recognised for his artistic and humanitarian efforts.
In an Irish tradition of poetry and protest, rebellion and rejoicing, he has composed anthems to peace and civil rights. The common beat of his life's work is the power of freedom, a tie that also binds Ireland and America as beloved friends.
Monday's confirmation of Trump's victory turned out to be a straightforward affair, which wrapped up in 30 minutes as defeated presidential candidate Kamala Harris as President of the Senate confirmed her rival's election. Donald Trump will be officially inaugurated on January 20th, and Harris says she is proud to have done her job as required.
Today, I did what I have done my entire career, which is take seriously the oath that I have taken many times to support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
That wasn't the end of the US drama this week, though. Trump's legal team spent Tuesday trying to block special counsel Jack Smith's final report on the January 6th insurrection, and Trump also held a rambling Mar-a-Lago press conference in which he threatened to take over Canada using economic force and ranted about windmills, power showers and electric heaters. It's not just Canada on his wish list either. He refused to rule out potential military action in his plan to take back the Panama Canal and take ownership of Greenland.
We need them for economic security. It might be that you'll have to do something. Look, the Panama Canal is vital to our country. It's being operated by China. And we gave the Panama Canal to Panama. We didn't give it to China.
He also had a stark warning for the Middle East, demanding that all hostages be released by the 20th of January.
If they're not back by the time I get into office, all hell will break out in the Middle East. And it will not be good for Hamas, and it will not be good, frankly, for anyone.
Thursday saw the funeral of former US President Jimmy Carter, who lived to be 100 years old and passed away on the 29th of December. America marked the occasion with a national day of mourning, and the ceremony in the National Cathedral in Washington came after events in Georgia and his body lying in state in the US Capitol building. All 4 living US presidents attended the funeral, including Donald Trump, while Joe Biden gave the obituary for a man who was a longtime friend.
Jimmy Carter's friendship taught me the strength of character is more than title or the power we hold. It's the strength to understand that everyone should be treated with dignity respect.
The week finished with Donald Trump appearing on Zoom in a New York court to hear from Judge Merchan on his sentencing over the 34 felony counts he was convicted of around hush money payments to porn star Stormy Daniels. Despite Trump's efforts to halt the conviction, including a failed last-ditch appeal to the Supreme Court, he managed to avoid jail or even a fine, as the judge gave him what's called an unconditional discharge. That means he is still a convicted felon but suffers no other punishment. Even that lucky escape didn't please Donald, however.
And I'd just like to explain that I was treated very, very unfairly. And I thank you very much.
While the UK is struggling under a blanket of icy cold air and a widespread flu outbreak, it wasn't the best week for new data on the NHS. Figures show that all 124 NHS trusts are failing to hit Labour's target on waiting lists. Sir Keir Starmer had pledged that 92% of patients would be seen within 18 weeks, but according to October figures, more than 3 million patients are waiting for longer. Health Secretary Wes Streeting says it's just not possible to fix the NHS quickly.
Winter pressures turn into annual winter crises. And I was honest coming into this winter, you can't just turn 14 years of failure around in 6 months.
The Chief Executive of the Royal College of Nursing, Professor Nicola Ranger, told the BBC that the government still hasn't addressed issues with the NHS workforce.
If you want to have better care, you've got to have people to look after them. And the biggest workforce that is having the biggest challenge is nursing. 131,000 vacancies in social care.
Monday saw Prime Minister Keir Starmer host a press conference to announce a new plan to reduce NHS waiting lists and introduce innovation in a bid to resuscitate the public health service. As new figures suggest that none of the 124 NHS trusts are meeting their 18-week waiting list targets, Starmer was announcing a new partnership with private healthcare to provide extra beds and resources for the struggling system.
We need an NHS hungry for innovation. That is the only way to face up to the challenges of the future. And with that hunger, together we can save countless lives.
The PM insists that this isn't a plan to secretly privatise the NHS, and there was new detail too on a planned review of the social care system. Karen Smith is Minister for Health and Social Care, and she said that more questions need to be asked before the system can be fixed.
Social care is the problem at the back end of the hospital, and it's miserable for families, we know that. But as we've been very clear, we need a political consensus around this now.
This week saw wildfires sweep through Los Angeles, forcing tens of thousands of people to evacuate their homes as at least 6 separate fires swept through California's biggest city. The largest fire in the Palisades district of the west of Los Angeles destroyed over 1,100 homes, and initial reports suggested at least 10 deaths, although more bodies may be discovered after the flames die down. Several well-known names, including Paris Hilton, Billy Crystal, Adam Brody and James Woods, have seen their homes go up in flames. Margaret Stewart is the LA Fire Department spokesperson, and she said the speed and strength of the fires has been surprising.
We don't have any containment at this point, so we have firefighters defending as many homes as we're able to.
There were very different reactions from the current and future presidents of the US. Joe Biden held a press conference in Santa Monica with Governor Gavin Newsom and declared a major disaster, while also pledging firefighting support from the Department of Defense. Trump, however, tweeted about the governor calling him Gavin Newscum and blaming the fire on poor management of the state's resources. The governor responded from the scene.
People are literally fleeing. People have lost their lives. Kids lost their schools. Families completely torn asunder. Churches burned down. This guy wanted to politicize it. I have a lot of thoughts and I know what I want to say. I won't.
Friday saw the LA fires continue to rage, with 5 distinct locations still in flames as thousands of firefighters continue to battle the blazes. The wind conditions and an ongoing drought appear to have created the perfect conditions for fire to spread, but police are investigating the source of at least 2 of the fires, with a suspect arrested near the Kennett fire. Incoming President Trump seized on the fires to criticise California Governor Gavin Newsom.
This is a true tragedy, and it's a mistake of the governor, and you could say the administration. They don't have any water. They didn't have water in the fire hydrants. They don't have water. The water comes from, you know where? Up north.
Difficulties with the water tank system in the Palisades were amplified by conspiracy theorists, but Mayor of Los Angeles Karen Bass said that there's no truth to rumours that budget cuts or systemic water shortages played a part in the spread of the fires.
There were no reductions that were made that would have impacted the situation that we were dealing with over the last couple of days. Money was allocated to be distributed later on.
Still to come in the Standout 7, Mark Zuckerberg says no to facts and Demi Moore wins big at the Golden Globes.
Right after this.
Okay, business leaders, are you here to play or are you playing to win? If you're in it to win, meet your next MVP. NetSuite by Oracle. NetSuite is your full business management system in one convenient suite. With NetSuite, you're running your accounting, your finance, your HR, your e-commerce, and more, all from your online dashboard. Upgrade your playbook and make the switch to NetSuite, the #1 cloud ERP.
Get the CFO's Guide to AI and Machine Learning at netsuite.com/tech. netsuite.com/tech.
Welcome back.
2024 saw a huge amount of political turbulence across the globe as elections across the world saw dramatic swings and shifts in the balance of power. Germany is facing a new election this year after its ruling coalition collapsed, and Canada is also due to have an election before October. However, after almost 10 years as the leader of the Liberal Party, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has resigned and won't lead the party into that election. He was the longest serving leader of the G7, but poor poll numbers and a number of scandals helped to make his mind up. Donald Trump greeted the news by restating his proposal that Canada become the US's 51st state. Trudeau spoke to the media outside Rideau Cottage in Ottawa.
So last night over dinner, I told my kids about the decision that I'm sharing with you today. I intend to resign as party leader, as Prime Minister, after the party selects its next leader through a robust, nationwide, competitive process.
The impact of Donald Trump's return to the White House is having a far-reaching effect as potential allies and major US companies scramble to position themselves in Donald's good books. The UAE announced it will make a multi-billion-dollar investment in the US to build data centres, and Mark Zuckerberg has also announced a major shift aimed at pleasing the new US president. Tuesday saw CEO Mark Zuckerberg appear in a video to explain the company's new approach to news and politics, which seems to be a surrender to the forces of MAGA and involves firing all of his fact-checkers. There'll be more analysis in this weekend's Smart 7 with tech guru Will Guyatt, but here's Mark Zuckerberg explaining the new policy and facts on Facebook.
We're going to get rid of fact checkers and replace them with community notes, similar to X, starting in the US. After Trump first got elected in 2016, the legacy media wrote non-stop about how misinformation was a threat to democracy. We tried in good faith to address those concerns without becoming the arbiters of truth.
Sunday night saw the 82nd Golden Globe Awards take place in Hollywood. This year's ceremony was hosted by comedian Nikki Glaser, making history as the first solo female host, and featured 2 Lifetime Achievement Awards, one for Viola Davis and one for Ted Danson. The most nominated film of the evening was Emilia Perez, with 10 in total, while The Brutalist had 7 nominations. It was a night for first-time winners and diversity, with Emilia Perez getting 4 awards and Shogun taking home 4 TV awards. Sebastian Stan won Best Actor for A Different Man, and Fernanda Torres, who won Best Drama Actress for her role in I'm Still Here. Veteran actress Demi Moore won Best Performance by a Female Actor in a Movie, her first ever major award.
And so today I celebrate this as a marker of my wholeness and of the love that is driving me, and for the gift of doing something I love and being reminded that I do belong. Thank you so much.
There was disappointment for some big names, with Daniel Craig and Timothée Chalamet missing out, but there were also wins for Baby Reindeer and star Jessica Gunning. Demi Moore and Zoe Saldana, along with Adrian Brody and Kieran Culkin, picked up the major acting awards and look set for potential Oscar glory. Colin Farrell won for his performance in The Penguin, and the Batman director Matt Reeves had good news on the red carpet for the Dubliner.
Well, we are talking about doing another season. Lauren and Dylan and I and Colin are talking about what we would do, and it's really about coming up with the right idea and also about the timing. We're doing the Batman Part 2, and so how all of that fits together. But we're really excited about doing another season, and we just have to figure out exactly the right idea.
You've been listening to The Smart 7. We'll be back tomorrow at 7 a.m. Hit that follow button and have a great day. Give us 7 minutes, we'll give you the world.